Well, a good evening to you and welcome to UBC News Tonight. It is the 29th of April 2021. My name is Lauryn, Masika, Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. Let's start off this bulletin with our headlines. Uganda Women Network lauded for giving voice to humanity. Over 20,000 urban refugee youths in Uganda to benefit from €30 million 5-year development project. Chegagwa district to get modern milk cooler. And in sports, Uganda to face Senegal in AFCON beach soccer tournament game. Good evening once again and welcome to UBC News Tonight. I'm Masika, Lauryn, Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. Now we start off with our first headlining story. Parliament has passed the Excess Duty Amendment Bill 2021, which has paved way for scrapping of over-the-top tax, commonly known as OTT. Also okayed, we're taxing 12% on internet data, an additional 100 shillings on fuel, including petrol and diesel. Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga lashed out at legislators who do not support government's move to raise revenue through taxes.
Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development recently tabled a series of new tax bills in a move to increase the tax base of the economy. Among the famous tax proposals embedded in the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2021, the over-the-top tax, also known as OTT, and instead levy 12% on the internet data.
So you need to support me to raise this revenue, to implement the programs, to support the activities of all branches of government. And you know what I mean. I think.
Despite resistance from a section of accountable legislators, Parliament has okayed the 12% levy on internet data.
Because one, it is hard to collect, and you cannot split education and medical. When you load bundles, you've loaded them.
Theodris Sechikubo, Member of Parliament for Lwemiyaga constituency, backed by Kampala Central Member of Parliament Sereko Muhammadi, proposed for a removal of clause to increase 100 shillings on fuel, including petrol and diesel, but in vain.
And the moment you do this, you are going to adversely affect the millions in border business, in taxi, matatu business, in buses, and even on trailers that are used in the haulage of the goods from the coast.
That whatever increment you put on fuel as a landlocked country is going to impact on our cost of production as we are coming through the COVID-19 era.
Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga was forced to put MP Sereko to order, saying government needs to collect more revenue from fuel.
You're on the floor of this house demanding for roads, demanding for hospitals, demanding for schools. Where do you want government to get the money?
We can tell them. I have a proposal.
No, bring your proposal after
on air tickets. We told them.
No, please.
The money they are making even at the airport.
I've told you that in September you bring a motion to deal with all the issues of taxation of policy, the impact on the local people, impact on the foreigners. Please, let's do it properly. But now you are, Honorable Sechikubo is ambushing them here. You're also ambushing. You had time to go to the committee. You did not go. You did not go to the committee.
Madam Speaker, we're on the floor. This is a committee of the whole House.
No. But our practice here is that really, if you want to amend something, you go to the committee and present your proposals there. They're discussed.
They were not available even.
Thank you,
Madam. Not available.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
This is not fair, right, Honorable Speaker. The tax on fuel is going to have a lot of impact.
I know that you are in Kampala Central. You know that the traders are listening. I also have people who buy fuel. Please, let's move, please.
Madam Chair.
Additional 100 shillings on wheat has also been rejected, and Parliament unanimously agreed to do away with it.
The wheat grain has now been deleted. That's almost 70 billion. The motor vehicle license, almost another 100 million. You have rationalized the plastics of another. So we are in the tax measures, the decisions of the committee after consultation with the stakeholders. We are actually losing close to 270 billion.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutavinji, UBC News.
Executive Secretary for IGAD, Wokne Gebeyehu, has noted with great concern that more needs to be done in the region to create sufficient space for young people to have a decisive role in determining their destiny. He revealed this at the launch of the IGAD Youth Forum for Peace under the theme Youth as Peace Drivers, held in Entebbe.
With the high levels of youth unemployment and limited livelihood opportunities, young people are vulnerable to destructive occupations. It is from this backdrop that IGAD launched a Youth Forum for Peace to provide a structured avenue through which youth in the region can contribute to peace building. The Youth Forum is a platform for youth engagement on regional peace and security among youth in the member states of IGAD. The Executive Secretary of IGAD noted that young people have the least voice and the lowest levels of political, economic and social influence, hence the need to interest them in peace for development.
One can say easily that the majority of the participants in that kind of conflict, violence is the youth. So we have to lead the youth. That's why we have created this. This is only an element of the activity. Leadership starts from the family. Leadership starts from different sectors, the youth, the women, religious organization, and so on and so forth. So these all have the role to bring the youth to be a real, indispensable force of peace building. So definitely this is a beginning. As IGAD, this regional organization is working in all activities of peace building in the region. We were working in South Sudan, Somalia, and other countries. But this forum, as independent forum, which lead the activity of this, will help significantly having a leadership in the region. So we are going to have a youth leadership in regional organization who really can help.
Wherever there is a conflict and violence, the frontliners are the users. So training and bringing different experiences from one country to another and creating a forum to discuss about how the youth can be involved in creating peace and providing peace is also a very important issue. So when we are thinking this forum, we don't just create at the regional level only. It will go to member states.
Minister of State for Youth, Florence Nachiwala Chinji, stated that one of the ways to ensure youthful people have a stake in economic growth of their states is by being stakeholders in the country through wealth creation, not mere speculators.
Happy also to propose that engaging youth in peace building must equally involve promotion of games and sports in addition to music, dance and drama.
9 out of every 10 young people live in developing countries, and in the IGAD region, 60% of the population. 9 out of every 10 young people live in developing countries, and in the IGAD region, 60% of the population is below 25 years of age. Zahara Abigaba, UBC.
Oriented NRM party-affiliated legislators have underscored the need to implement development aspects that grow Uganda. Bududa woman MP-elect Agnes Nandutu wants Ugandans to embrace the parish development model to support government in its social-economic transformation agenda. She was speaking on the sidelines of the closure of the retreat at National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi.
It partly ended on a sad note with the death of the party's director for mobilization, Matthias Kasamba. But the orientation retreat for the elected NRM MPs remained substantial. The emphasis was development and socio-economic transformation agenda for the new MPs.
And indeed, we have learned a lot on how we are going to transform our country from poverty to at least, though not too much wealth, but we should promote the household incomes.
The newly adopted parish development model is a welcome tune in the ears of many MPs across the country.
And some of us, like in the mountains of Bugisu and other places that have fragmented land, we are going to focus on intensive agriculture to ensure that we grow high-value crops.
The mantle is on us to go and take it to our people so that our people should appreciate what we have learned all this time, and we bring them on board so that they work hard.
But reducing international travels for legislators to cut government expenditure nearly caused alarm. At the end of the day, it was put aside from the adopted resolutions after the president's intervention.
And I think we should have 5 minutes to have this discussion so that we live with an agreed position.
The Wanyankore say, and once you agree, you don't have to shout calling one another. So we can remove it now, not to disturb our digestion. But when we are in the caucus, we shall discuss it, and if necessary, put it to referendum. What do you think about that?
What we can discuss is about the moderation of how many days and what specific trips you can go for, but I do not support the idea of saying there will be no trips totally. That is absolutely uncouth.
This was the climax of a 3-week retreat for new NRM MPs. They were challenged to embrace government development programs.
What is causing problems are people who are looking for their own interests, and they don't care about other people.
The swearing in for the newly elected members of parliament will start on 17th and end on 20th May 2021. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Outgoing members of parliament have been challenged to find ways of living responsible lives outside parliament. Kadaga, who congratulates the MPs upon milestones registered during their soon-to-end 5-year term, is hopeful they will remain active. She was opening the seminar for the outgoing legislators dubbed Life After Parliament.
So the majority of the members who are exiting are of the vibrant age group between 40 and 59. Where are they going?
The world outside parliament for a person who has been a legislator can be unique, strange, but interesting, depending on how one prepares for it. Oduman Okello, a former member of parliament for Bukedia constituency, is alive to this fact, having left parliament about 10 years ago.
The departure and the exit from parliament is very much different from a departure from any other job. Why? In my view, it is because the higher you go, normally the harder the fall might be.
But then he had no choice but to accept life and move on as a former member of parliament. This is the same direction that he and other socio-economic experts want outgoing members of parliament to take.
You are degree holders. You are master's degree holders. But you have been behaving as if you just stopped in primary 3 when it came to money. It's time to go and begin to say, what were the sales of yesterday? Where is the money of yesterday? And those sales compared to a related similar business, am I making sense?
But to remain relevant in society outside parliament, personal branding is key. This is one thing they need to embrace and sustain, as emphasized by Olive Birungi Lumonya.
Sometimes we communicate and we are rude without knowing we are rude. So when you do the self-evaluation, somebody will tell you and say, Honorable, you know, sometimes when you speak, you want to be authoritative, but you pass out rude. Then you work on that. You see, Honorable, sometimes when you speak, you speak like you're not so knowledgeable. Because you speak and then you get off that topic, maybe next time when you're speaking, you do this. It is a step. But as I said, each of you has a brand that you are sat on.
Living responsibly outside the House remains the emphasis, with Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Kadaga joining others to call for the same.
We all have to accept, we all have to refurbish our tools, our boxes, and we all have to reposition ourselves.
Much of the work that's going on in the country is out of the efforts of the Parliament of Uganda, and I want to thank you for that. Because honour members give out of their time, their experience, and life during those 5 years. And it's a big contribution to the whole country.
As for the MPs who lost in the recent elections, it is not the end of the road, but the beginning of the highway.
Leadership is a service, it's not a career. Well, I look for other things to do. I had things that I used to do. I'll continue doing those things. And if the very people who gave me the mandate to come and represent them deem it fit to bring me back, I'm still ready and able to serve them.
For me, the question of what next is not something that I'll put in the public domain, but I've come from an informed career background, and I will certainly be able to apply my knowledge skills in order to make a living.
Incumbent MPs have lost their seats from the 6th Parliament when 60% did not make it back. The losing trend has since continued, with 75% of the current members reported not to have made it to the 11th Parliament. Henry Okurut, UBC.
FDC top party leadership is equipping elected members of Parliament with skills to present strong positions in Parliament. Now, the President, Patrick Amuriat-Boy, says they have organized a retreat to reflect after the January 2021 general elections.
The 2020-21 campaign and election period disorganized different political parties as most members left party activities to solicit votes for various positions. The FDC party has organized a retreat on the theme 11th Parliament, better legislation and enhanced party growth to reorient members.
So we need to rebuild our brand, we need to rebuild our thinking, we have to strategize how best to tackle the next years within the Parliament of Uganda. As you can see, the people who are here, not all members of FDC. The people who are here are members who passed, who became elected. So we are discussing with them how to behave in Parliament.
From the past election, FDC returned 32 MPs to the 11th Parliament, and these are being oriented to be effective in Parliament.
Even in this 11th Parliament, we are not going to have this kind of characters that would fall prey to bribery or become vulnerable to bribery in the House, where it comes to taking decisions on key or important issues of this country. If we notice such a tendency, though, it is upon us as the leadership to put that member in order.
The retreat will discuss leadership in FDC party, focus on 2 members endorsed to compete for Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
Have a conversation on this. It is true that some of our members have previously come up quite openly to support candidates, a candidate that is not the candidate of the party, but we believe that coming out of this retreat, we should be able to hammer a common position, and if we do not reach a common position, we should be able to see how to manage that uncommon position.
Top leaders hope that unity and reconciliation can be through networking.
We have talked to them and we have reconciled some of them. There are still those who are not as hesitant or afraid, not knowing the best way to come forward. I can tell them, please reach me any other time, anytime, and we talk about it and see how you can come back. But you are welcome.
I'm Nafka Farida and Helen Barbara.
The construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance and other projects along River Nile is feared to cause a water crisis for the entire African continent. Now, this has been disclosed by members of the civil society organizations and experts in the dialogue to prevent disagreements in the Nile basin region.
Civil society organizations and environment experts have acknowledged the progress of the ongoing consultations on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The dam construction has posed the situation among the Nile basin countries and adversely affecting their relations.
The entire Egypt is living because of the Nile. And if you're drawing big amounts of water to construct the world ever biggest dam, it's like you're constraining them. You're constraining their agricultural activities. You're constraining their lives because no man can live without water. So that means you're going to compel the Egyptians to start dying because for you're drawing water to produce electricity. Then we understand that Uganda, as Uganda, you've not diagnosed the capacity of the source of the Nile, and you don't know the feeder rivers that draw water or that bring water into the source of the Nile.
The Executive Director, Girls Forum International, Esther Namboka, says the negotiation meetings between the three core Nile riparian countries of Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan has not yielded much.
Africa has a lot of conflicts, and every conflict comes as a result of either a resource or an interest where one or two countries wish to either gain power, control, and there's always failure in terms of negotiations. Why shouldn't Uganda sit and fold its hand? It's because we give birth to River Nile. The Nile starts from our president, who is usually in these discussions of peace building within the different African states, to also come out and be a father when it comes to bringing harmony and peace within these countries.
Involvement of women in the negotiation has been encouraged. There is likelihood to escalate disagreements between Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan.
The construction of the GAD has no problem, but the construction of the dam must be within the agreement of the states that are going to use. The conflict that is there now is getting water from the River Nile to fill the dam at once, which Ethiopia wants to do. There must be an agreement first. One, the concern is about issues of environment. Environment must have had environment impact assessment of construction of this dam to affect the area around the Nile. Secondly, is about the people around the Nile. There must be a role to play to ensure that it doesn't affect their coexistence, ecosystem, but also the conservation of the area and the people. Because we know about climate change, this can lead to environmental degradation because the construction, we know that it brings power, generates power. However, it should be generated when every country has agreed upon the modalities of construction.
The coordinator, Youth Advocacy and Development Network Uganda, Raymond Ryoka, proposed intervention of member states to stop escalation of the conflict.
Uganda has a role to play, especially the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They have, because of their cardio role as diplomacy, they have a role to ensure that there is coherence. There is a planned Nile summit. We believe Uganda should come up with a statement, be ready in there in the summit to ensure that there is no conflict. The embassies and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to ensure that they promote consensus, dialogue among these states. We know presidents of these countries have met foreign ministers, but there are still challenges of them approving and agreeing on what steps they want to take.
Ethiopia will fill the dam by mid-June 2021, although Egypt and Sudan have rejected her decision. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
Uganda Women Network Executive Director has been declared winner in the 2021 European Union Human Rights Defenders Awards. Rita Lacour has been at the forefront of advocacy and campaigning on the rights of women and girls for close to 2 decades. The annual awards are aimed at promoting civil and political rights as well as social, economic and cultural rights.
The European Union has recognized efforts by Uganda Women Network in championing rights of women and the girl child. Rita Lacour, the Executive Director of UONET, was crowned the EU Human Rights Defender for Uganda 2021 at an event hosted by the German ambassador at his residence.
We thought 10 years ago that the time had come for us to give an opportunity to those ladies and gentlemen who have been doing this important work, and this year we have identified among 100 candidates what we consider the one who is most deserved this prize. But it's not just about human rights, it's in a very broad terms. I remember 3 years ago we awarded the prize to somebody who had been fighting, and is still fighting a lot on environment, William Amanzur, fighting for the preservation of Zoga forests.
Lacour could not hide her joy and promised to continue giving a voice to humanity and the voiceless in order to foster a dignified life. Ms. Achiro has been at the forefront of advocacy and campaigning on the rights of women and the girls for almost 20 years. She is passionate about uplifting the status of women and girls and providing equal opportunities in all aspects of their lives.
And I'm humbled to receive this recognition. But I must say the work in attaining women's rights and gender equality, we are way far. We've just seen or heard about the police crime report, which was released just last week. The level of abuse of girls and women in this country is actually growing. And for that reason, we need to tighten up our boots further, that it's not a ruhuru for women and girls in this country.
Her sentiments are re-echoed by Rosemary Namboze, one of the top 3 finalists of the competitive awards that attracted over 100 nominations.
The truth is, human rights are fundamental rights and universal for everyone. This is what I've been saying. Human rights are fundamental rights and universal for everyone. This is what I've been telling media, organization and government. We should not be looked to support a person with a disability. It should not be looked at as charity. It is a human right. It is their right to go to school, to receive education, to receive health care, to be protected within the communities.
The EU Human Rights Defenders Awards are geared at promoting civil and political rights as well as social, economic and cultural rights in Uganda. Dennis Sigoa and Charlotte Amuge for UBC News.
Ministry of Health has planned for awareness on hearing impairment in Uganda. In the campaign, infants will be tested and treated whenever they will be taken for different vaccines at health facilities. This was during a media engagement with the Ministry of Health technocrats on the status of hearing loss in Uganda.
By gender or physical ability or costs, this should not be barriers.
Hearing impairment has been found to be common among HIV-positive persons. A research done in 2008 in Masindi district shows that 11% of people had hearing problem. The research conducted in Mbarara district in 2017 shows 7% children 6 and 12 years who are HIV-positive have hearing impairment. Another research by Makerere University showed 33% of children who are HIV-positive have a hearing problem and 3% who are negative cannot hear. Ministry of Health technocrats say Ministry of Health will test and treat all infants with hearing impairment.
The most other aspect which the ministry, as a ministry, we are emphasizing is aspect of availing these services up to the lowest health facility, and that's probably up to health center 3. That is where they can be able to do health education and be able to treat if there is a ear infection, which normally happens and mainly in children.
They also explain causes of hearing impairment.
Technology has developed. You move around town, everybody is having something, listening to music. and definitely you are looking at what is the, how loud is that noise, and progressively you will find that you will transition yourself. If already you had already an impairment, it will become definitely worse as you do, as you progress.
Doctors say people living with HIV are at risk of getting impairment problem.
It is there, it is silent, and in its silence, it is consuming so many people's lives and letting them live at less potentials in life.
Now it's going to let us know which area is more affected and maybe what reasons could explain the differences. The research we have, the data we have now from Central and Southwestern, both are high. None is better than the other.
Ministry of Health will also start training medics at regional health facilities to use equipment and create awareness in communities on available services.
You have specialists up to the level of regional referral hospitals. All of them might not necessarily be staffed, but this is one of the areas which we are looking at that we need to be able to see how we can offer additional scholarships for people to be able to take up ENT training. And when you have an ENT specialist, then all the services which they have indicated can be on. Because the beginning point is an assessment.
Hearing impairment can be avoided if pregnant women go for antenatal, give birth in hospitals, immunize children, stop drinking alcohol and smoking while pregnant. Sudat Kaye, Moriniga, UBC News.
Now, news just in, former President, Uganda Journalist Association and Star FM investigative journalist, that is Robert Kagolo, has been gunned down. He has been killed, and we shall be giving you the details, more details on that story in our subsequent bulletins. Our deepest condolences go out to his family and of course to the UBC family as well. May his soul rest in peace. Now, Uganda Red Cross Society has launched a 5-year multi-billion strategy plan aimed at ensuring the society's institutional and financial stability that will in the end propel optimal humanitarian service delivery, justifying the over 230 billion shilling budget strategic plan. Robert Kwesiga, the Secretary General of Uganda Red Cross, said the institution intends to expand her territorial presence as well as foster community resilience to eventualities. Take a look.
Top leadership of the Uganda Red Cross Society hopes to ride on the redeemed image of the institution to get the required funds to finance the strategic plan. This comes after the institution suffered mismanagement and bad governance that nearly brought the famous humanitarian institution to a close.
Those who have been in Uganda or those who have been kept track of the Uganda Red Cross, this institution by 2014 had imploded, I think that's the right word, and it was on its knees. And so the strategy we came up with of 2017-2020 was to bring it back. And so it was largely a restructuring plan where we had set up new structures, new systems, new processes in order for us to effectively be an institution that can reach out and fulfill its mandates.
However, after cleaning their house, the Uganda Red Cross Society is now better placed in as far as public trust is concerned, evidenced by confessions from some of the development partners and government officials.
The power of the Red Cross lies in your unique global mandate that drives your mission and your vision towards serving humanity. So congratulations from us on successfully rebuilding systems, structures, and processes to guarantee efficient and effective operations.
The Secretary General, Uganda Red Cross Society, Robert Kwesiga, confesses that the journey was both sloppy and slippery. He particularly recognizes government support after a total of 6 billion shillings that accumulated in unpaid statutory obligations was waived off.
We have reached our space. And the way we have reached it is that it can be reflected in our annual turnover. And when you compare the funding of that time and today, we have registered an over 163% funding increase or turnover increase.
To witness the launch of the strategic plan was the first Deputy Prime Minister, General Moses Ali, who said government's recognition of the role of the society is exhibited by the recently passed Uganda Red Cross Bill of 2019 that now awaits assent by the President.
The government of Uganda has always stood with and supported the Uganda Red Cross in its recovery and change processes, provided for government funding and tax-free exemptions of the National Society activities. If you exempted tax, you should clap.
In the next 5 years, Uganda Red Cross Society targets to promote community resilience through establishment of more branches and having at least 1% of the more than the estimated 42 million Ugandans as its members. Since inception in 1964, the Uganda Red Cross Society has managed to plant branches in over 50 districts. Others witnessing the launch were representatives of the diplomatic corps, officials from disaster preparedness and health ministries. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Owaye kapo olabika nga ali mbwangu olagawa ngenda kukyalako mu URA naye osobola okutuukirira URA ng'oyita ku mutimbagano kiki ekikutwalayo
okwongera okumanya ku nkola ya URA eyitibwa kakasa business solution. Muno mulimu digital tracking solution. Omusuubuzi mwalina okutunda ebintu byomuliko stampu y'emisolo, voluntary disclosure program egenderera okusonyiwa ababi b'omusolo amagoba n'engasi, saako electoral fiscal receipting and invoicing solution erimu okugaba risiiti n'obukongo obubanja bw'owoze ng'oyita ku mitimbagano. Binono bye biyambye okutumbula bizinesi yange obulungi n'okwekuumira ku ntikko y'akazannyo. Ndowooza onfuna.
Neetaaga okumanya kapo ky'amanyi. Kakasa nti gw'oli mu mitambo gya bizinesi yo.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Wait.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles.
MTN.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still with us on UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn, Masika, Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. Now moving on, the multi-million-dollar city flyover project will soon be launched in Kampala. The state-of-the-art project is set to bring to an end the numerous environmental challenges that will also bring an end to Kampala's notorious traffic jam. Now, according to spokesman Uganda National Roads Authority Alan Chobe, construction is on the right track.
Notorious traffic jam in and around Kampala City may soon be history when Lot 1 of Kampala City flyover is open to all road users.
And the flyover, one of the objectives of the flyover is to cut congestion, the menacing traffic congestion around the project corridor. As you may have noticed, that is one of the areas that was identified to be able to reduce on this menacing traffic in our city.
Construction of Kampala City flyovers will be done in 2 phases.
The first lot is Lot 1, which stretches from the clock tower area all around ShopRite, formerly Posta Office, through the Zambia Gaba Road up to Chibuli Mukwano area. That is Lot 1, and it's already under implementation. Lot 2 will kick off from Kitgum area, or where the other would have stopped, Kitgum area, Ginger Road, run around the Centenary Park, Garden City area, the Electoral Commission area, Wampeo Avenue, and pours into Ginger Road. That is Lot 2. The expectation in the future is Kampala Ginger Expressway will actually pick up from there.
Apart from the major objective of decongesting the city traffic, the 2 flyovers will ensure public safety when heavy rains come down. Sitting on the flood-prone areas of the city, the 2 flyover lines are equipped with huge pipes and gutters designed to drain waters that run off into Nachivubo Channel. It is believed that technology will minimize frequent city flooding and related loss of life.
Central Business District, you may say CBD, has been choking on flooding. Whenever it has rained, we've had quite terrible flooding along the project corridor, that area I'm talking about. But with the new project, we've provided for big drainage structures. These structures are going to be able to channel the water through the project corridor. If you have actually been on site, you'll notice that we've actually taken out the existing and the old culverts, and are preparing the bigger box culverts that will be able to channel the water.
Above all, the area roads, walkways and parks will be beauty to behold.
Kept to bring out the beauty, to bring out the demeanor of a country's capital city, that will really respond to the needs of our everyday traveler in the Central Business District. Can be both the Ugandan but even foreigners. So we'll have a facility that responds to the needs of not just us as Ugandans, but also people who come from all the way out of the country to come and actually do business or invest in Uganda.
Irene Faith Nantongo, Pathias Karekona, UBC News.
Nkoma SS in Mbale City has benefited from government's initiative of homeschooling by receiving textbooks to be used by students following the prolonged COVID-19 holiday that affected learning countrywide. Now, handing over the textbooks to students, the head teacher Nkoma SS, Mwesigwa Yakub, commended the government for the program, saying it is set to give mileage to students' revision. Nkoma SS is the pioneer school in Mbale City to receive the textbooks that were given to students of Senior 1, 2 and 3 respectively.
Today, Nkoma has been one of the luckiest schools. We have been distributing textbooks, which were organized by the Ministry of Education and sponsored by the government of Uganda, to our classes, Senior 1, Senior 3, those who, as a way of compensating what they missed during the lockdown. We have given out 2 copies of textbooks. One is for sciences, another one is for humanities. Sciences, all subjects, science subjects are covered. The work which we are supposed to cover while at school, in case COVID was not there, that work is in that book of sciences. Then another copy is for humanities. This is also covering history, geography, IRE and CRE, and any other subject which is that category. Also is making up the work which they missed while they were still in COVID time. And every student has received the 2 copies. We are sure these books are going to be very useful to them.
I spent a lot of time at home without revising books, and I think these books I will make sure that time which I spent without revising, and I revise my books. They contain all the materials inside there. They contain all the science subjects and all the topics. And I got also those books which contain the art subjects and all the topics, and I'll make sure that I revise those books.
As we have got these studying books, I think we shall perform very well.
All of us are happy to get these books. They are homestead learning books. We are excited. We thank the government of Uganda for providing these books to us. We are very excited. Thank you, thank you. We thank the government of Uganda for providing these books to us. We are very excited. Thank you, thank you. We love these books because they have content sometimes we don't get from our teachers.
I'm very happy with the books I received. They are going to help me in my academics.
Well, happy students indeed. Now, over 30 students from rural schools enrolling for higher education have acquired scholarships from Ministry of Education and Sports through Nile Breweries Limited, while receiving a dummy check of 80 million shillings at Nile Breweries head office in Luzira. Masi Mugowa, Principal Education Officer, Higher Education, applauded the move, saying it is aimed at promoting the education sector.
Inaccessibility of loans for development, poverty, ignorance, climate change and high population growth rates are some of the challenges which hinder students in rural areas from enrolling for education at higher institutions of learning. It is against this backdrop that the Minister of Education and Sports partnered with Nile Breweries Limited to acquire education scholarships for best students in rural-based learning institutions. While receiving a dummy check of 80 million shillings from Nile Breweries Limited, Massimo Gowa, the Principal Education Officer, Higher Education, Admission and Scholarships at the Ministry of Education and Sports, appreciated the offer, saying it will go a long way in ensuring the beneficiaries' future.
You are helping the country in achieving goal number 4 of NDP3, of ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education. So NBL, we are so grateful for this, but we also need more support in terms of field attachment towards these students. There is also a need for private sector players to encourage vocational skilling, training among the students they support.
And to all the students seated herein who are sponsored by NBL, we urge you to make the most of this opportunity by focusing on your studies, most importantly being disciplined.
Managing Director, Nile Breweries Limited, David Valenza, says this is done to complement government through the education sector and to empower communities and the country.
And we have invested an average of close to 300 million shillings per annum on this program. And we do believe that this is a great way to empower our communities and the young Ugandan population. We believe that the private sector should and must continue to lend a hand so that together we can uplift the Ugandan youth.
The annual Nile Breweries Scholarship Program, which has been in existence for 10 years now, also benefits those in all levels. And some of the beneficiaries had this to say.
This is 100% mindset. This 100% mindset aims at you as an individual to believe in yourself, that is whatever you do, you'll always give your 100%.
Yeah, it was a shock and I was really happy. And yeah, King's College was, I didn't know it was a mixed school.
Deborah Namamonde, Ngabo Amon, UBC News.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees has donated an assortment of science and technology equipment to Chikube District Education Department. Some of the items donated include laptops, desktops, colored printers, a tab, routers, and one motorcycle registration number UFA 416N, among others. The donation cost of 15 million shillings.
Over the items, Thomas Faustin, the head of field office, United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Changwali, said the donation is part of UNHCR's corporate social responsibility aimed at promoting education in their areas of operation. He has called on stakeholders to advocate for the education of children for a better future.
Well, Chikube District is one of our partners when it comes to not only the refugees, but also host community. And we understand that with the situation last year and this year with the COVID-19 issues that have come up, education has had difficult times. And we feel that this donation will help support getting the education restarted.
Moses Kaploni, the Chikukube Chief Administrative Officer, commended UNHCR for the donation, which he says will help close the gap which the department has been facing due to inadequate equipment. He called for proper management of the machines to ensure they serve the intended purpose.
This property should improve on the education service in the district. Yeah. And use them responsibly.
Dewo Gracious Chakagaba, the Chikukube District Education Officer, hailed UNHCR for the donation and called for more support towards the education sector in the district.
And I promise that should be put to proper use, and it will help us improve service delivery, especially in data management, and also facilitating our inspectors reaching schools.
This donation is done within the districts that are hosting refugees in the country. George Nyonzima, Helen Barbara, reporting ABC TV.
All right, now researchers at Makerere University have been urged to impact and also to translate their research projects into communities. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Makerere University, Dr. Umar Kakumba, says once ideas formed from the research are translated to the communities, unemployment is likely to be reduced. He announced this while releasing a report on the 30 billion Research and Innovation Fund for the ending financial year at Makerere University.
Over 60 researchers and innovators from Makerere University, College of Humanities and Social Sciences have showcased projects that will focus on innovating and finding solutions to unemployment, human interest problems and sexual violence.
Stand up to the challenge of addressing societal needs, needs about development, but much more importantly, needs about transformation. Needs about development, but much more importantly, needs about transformation. So we say development is not just about material needs of human beings. Development and transformation is about a holistic human being with language, with culture, with human security, with safety and all that.
Among the projects exhibited include the education sector, tourism, culture, health and security. In the education sector, projects like fighting sexual harassment in higher institutions were highlighted.
Our research is what we call action-oriented. We want action to see if it delivers, and there is evidence it delivers. The first component is to train all first-year students, giving them information but also life skills, how to manage themselves, decision-making, to fight for themselves, but also have all the information.
According to research, 60% cases have been reported by students and investigations are currently underway.
The student is interviewed, the staff is interviewed, and the what we call the witnesses are also called. We look at evidence and then it is sent to appointments board, which is a higher committee for also review and assess and make a decision whether to dismiss or to suspend.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics, Makerere University, Dr. Uma Kakumba, says fostering research in various fields of expertise will help in positively impacting communities.
Is to translate these research outputs into specific services, into some products, into knowledge and practices that can inform our community out there.
These are committed to supporting all the projects for a better impact.
A rich menu for Uganda to utilize these research products and innovations.
The research was funded by the Government of Uganda through the Makerere University Research and Innovation Fund with a tune of 30 billion shillings. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Entrepreneurs have been called upon to register their businesses with both the Uganda Registration Services Bureau (URSB) and Uganda National Bureau of Standards (UNBS) to enable them carry out business without interruption. This call was made by the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, during a closure of a 3-day women conference that was aimed at equipping women with innovation skills.
Quite often, women entrepreneurs' businesses collapse due to inadequate skills on managing them. It is for this reason that the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, together with the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, has equipped women with intellectual property skills, which will help them boost their businesses on the world market.
Sugar, it's a cake, you can eat it. Some bakers are lazy, others do not have the skill to do.
Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, who presided over the ceremony, advised women entrepreneurs to register their businesses in order to compete favorably on the world market.
If Uganda's economy is going to be competitive, there is no any other route except this one. The Registration Services Bureau is the focal point for registering all these. I urge participants to go to Uganda Registration Services Bureau to learn more on how you can register and protect any of the intellectual property tools that you have learned at this workshop.
Kamonto urges women entrepreneurs to use the intellectual property skills gained from this training to transform the country from peasant-based to middle-income earners.
To transform a society that is predominantly peasant and subsistence, meaning an economy and people in moneyless. You are not in the money economy. You are simply in subsistence. You eat what you produce in the garden. Yeah, to move from here, you really need to develop your mind. Otherwise, you will forever be there.
The chairman grooming a successful woman with intellectual mind, Giswim Kampala, Mr. James Wasula, has asked government to reconsider some of the taxes imposed on the country, like the internet and mobile money tax, which he believes curtails business people's advertising power.
We have challenges in homes, domestic violence, broken marriages, and so on and so forth. But all these things come from one thing, not empowering women. If women are put in positions of decision-making, they definitely solve many problems and stop many actually from occurring. So that's why we are dealing with women.
The women who attended this training were pleased with the skills gained and promised to apply them to the benefit of their businesses and the country at large. I am Mary Nankose for UBC News.
The Director Division Police Department.
UBC News Tonight takes a short break, but we'll return with business and sports news.
COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we learn, because it's those things that bring us close together.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back from the break. Now into business news. Suppliers in Uganda must adapt to the fast-changing digital technologies in order to remain relevant and fulfill their obligations. This call has been made at the 2021 NSSF Suppliers Forum in Kampala. The forum sought to avail business deals to the public and also educate the business community on business processes to enable them to work with the fund and government. NSSF says it's committing over 826 billion on procurement-related projects in the next financial year.
With the increase of members and the dependency on digital solutions, National Social Security Fund has appealed to its suppliers to create innovations and technology that will enable the company to provide low-cost housing to its members.
We wanted to tell our suppliers how much money we'll be spending, almost 830 billion shillings that we'll be spending in supplies and equipment. Most of that expenditure is going to be in the real estate space, and the challenge we threw to our suppliers is to provide us with innovation and technology that will enable us to provide low-cost housing to our members. We believe that almost 700 members can qualify to buy houses if they were priced below 100 million shillings.
Despite government support towards entrepreneurship, low capacity to supply, high interest rates, and the long procurement process are some of the challenges that still affect the provision of products and services by suppliers in Uganda.
Why do we have interest rate of 18.8%? You look at other countries, South Africa, 10, Botswana, 7. Then of course the other serious countries, Japan 0.9. China, those who study mathematics, I didn't put China here. China 0.00067% recurring. Money is free, that's what it means. So can you compete with that with the Chinese company if you wanted to supply? You Tell me which business are you going to do supply, which materials are going to supply at 18.8% cost of money. You see how that money is expensive.
Suppliers have been urged to form partnerships and embrace technology in order to bridge markets and offer affordable services to their customers.
And every business must now speak the mobile language. And so I just wanted to let you know that there are lessons to this. Technology can transform your business. You must watch the trends, you must follow the trends, you must understand your customer.
55% of Uganda's budget is spent on public procurement, but an estimated 10% to 25% is lost as a result of inefficiency and corruption. Charlotte Amuge to 25% is lost as a result of inefficiency and corruption. Charlotte Amuge and Dennis Igowa for UBC Business.
Government and civil society have come together to commemorate World Occupational Health and Safety. In light to this, the National Coordinating Council of Uganda and Industrial Global Union is campaigning to remind government of their promise, a safe and healthy working sector.
We are fighting for our rights. 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 We are advancing the whole situation. We are advancing the whole situation.
In the past decade, government has established labor laws that have come shaping the quality of work in Uganda today. Aware that Uganda has good labor laws, civil society is advocating for more government intervention and accountability.
There is need for the Ministry of Labor to also carry out some research, because it has been realized that there are some few hospitals, there are some insurance companies that connive. So we need to work together, as you said, with the affiliates to ensure that a lot of sensitization, a lot of awareness raising is done in this area.
In Uganda, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, through the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, is responsible for administration and enforcement of the Occupational Safety and Health Act No. 9, 2006, through registration of workplaces, inspection and monitoring of OSH activities.
There is no policy on safety and health. So we have now drafted a policy, a national occupational safety and health policy, although this one is also taking some time because the Cabinet Secretariat has given its opinion on the policy. They are saying that we should have a unified labor policy.
The people we have as labor officers, some of them have never been trained. I think they pick them from the districts in different departments and they say, for you are going to do this without induction. So some of them behave like human resource officers.
In accordance with Section 13 of Occupational Safety and Health Act 2006, it is obligatory for an employer to ensure health, safety and welfare of persons at workplace. If laborers are injured at work, the formula for compensation is the employee's total earnings multiplied by 60 months and the percentage of incapacitation computed by a medical doctor.
And now into sports, the Uganda national beach soccer team, Sand Cranes, has on Thursday afternoon been drawn in Group A ahead of the 2021 Beach Soccer Africa Cup of Nations to be held in Senegal that will take place on the 23rd to the 29th of May 2021. The Salim Jamal Muonge coach side is placed with hosts Senegal, two neighbors, Tanzania and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Sand Cranes will play their first match at the tournament against Tanzania before tussling it out with Senegal and DR Congo, respectively.
The group stage we are in is tough. We have been facing Senegal, we have been facing Tanzania. We don't have much details about Congo, but Senegal as a host is tough, and we are hoping to be out of this group to go to the next stage. Yeah. Team ya Uganda njimba dene ya Sand Cranes eje improvinga buli match gye tuzanya. So ne Ghana yennyini okubayi tugyetegekedde okuba nga tugizanya okujwa nga tugijjamu. Sigamba nti oba nti tubadde tetuli beeteefuteefu, ebbanga lyonna tubadde beeteefuteefu nga ttiimu tugitegeka okuba nga etuuka ku stage eno.
All right, now before we sign out, just to give you more information, the former president, Uganda Journalists Association and Uganda Broadcasting Staff, Robert Kagolo, has died from a gunshot wound. Now, police is investigating circumstances under which he was shot. We continue to pray for his family in this trying time and wish them our deepest condolences. May his soul rest in peace. And with that, we do come to the end of this bulletin. Do have yourself a lovely night. I'm Lauryn, Masika, Kazimoto, and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language.